What is happening, everybody? MG here, MGCovers, bringing you a brand new sports handicapping video. Title of this video, When to Say No in Sports Betting. Super excited to bring you this video. Almost made this a coaching client video, but decided to make it a public video, so you're going to learn a lot by watching this video. Before we dive into the video, as always, if you're watching this video for the first time, hit the subscribe button. Greatly appreciate you subscribing to the channel. There's a ton of content related to sports betting. If you want to improve your sports betting, subscribe to the channel, watch the videos. You will drastically improve your sports betting. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm MGCovers, covers spelled with a Z at the end. There's a link in the description box. And also, too, this video is sponsored by Betonline. If you're looking for a really good sports book, maybe you have one, maybe you have 2, 3, etc. Can never have enough good quality sports book. It's one of the best offshore books. There's a link to join in the description box. You get a 50% bonus if you deposit $1,000. You'll get $500 for a total of $1,500 in your account with a 10 times rollover, which is a really good deal. All right, let's dive into this video. Now, this was the power rankings for August the 1st, 2023. Now, one thing that's not talked about, and I'm a huge advocate of this, is the no play. And you've heard me, if you follow me for any length of time, it's very undervalued in sports betting. When you wake up every morning, you cannot assume that you're going to have plays for that day, because there might be a situation, and that's what we're going to talk about, a situation where there are no plays. And we'll go through, it's rare, but that was the case for yesterday. If we'd have played every play with value, we would have gotten slaughtered last night. And I want to walk through this and give you my analysis of everything. So real quickly, this over here on the left side, these are my power rankings, basically my lines. And this part here, if you see an X, that means that team has value. That means we're considering that team. And then this over here is the F5 line. It shows basically the starting pitching calculation, projected runs scored for the F5 line. And over here, top 5 in hitting via my power rankings, and then the bottom 7 in hitting via my power rankings. So let's take a look at this first game here, Baltimore, Toronto. Baltimore was plus 143, Toronto minus 140. So we had huge value there for Toronto at minus 112. Baltimore was plus 109. You see this NA, Toronto's starter was making his season debut after coming off Tommy John surgery. That's why there's an NA. There's no data for him because this is his first start of the season. I learned this from my mentor, Bob McCune. When you have no data, I'm not sure that what's correct, it's a no play. You'll see this a lot in sports. In the beginning of NFL season, a lot of you will wager the first week of the season, you'll get crushed. You'll wager the first couple weeks of college football, you'll get crushed. There's no data. You're betting on something with no statistical data. Therefore, there's no predictability in it. And the odds of you winning are extremely slim. Same deal here. So what do you do in a situation where there's a pitcher making his season debut with no data? You pass. And sure enough, he gave up 2 runs first inning. He gave up another run in the second inning. And then finally, he gave up, I think, a total of, 4 runs total. So that's the reason you pass, and that was a good pass. Let's go into the next game, Angels in Atlanta. You see Angels minus 120, my line. Atlanta minus 117. Angels were getting huge dog money plus 225. The problem, and what I've learned with this model, you never want to wager, or it's rare you want to wager against a really good hitting team, because that is the most powerful stat in handicapping baseball. So Atlanta was the top 5 hitting team. Didn't want to wager against them, so that was a pass. Let's come down here. Minnesota, St. Louis had value with Minnesota via my line. They were minus 103. St. Louis plus 113. So this was real tight. Look at the F5 line. That was tight as well, 3-3. And then look at your final score here. It ended up being, Yeah, Minnesota did win that one 3-2. More than likely would have played that on the run line because Minnesota was the away team, and that would have lost. But again, no value. hard to lay minus 124 when your line is only minus 103, and plus we really weren't getting an advantage on the F5 line. But that was the only game that actually won via the power rankings. Let's go to Mets and Kansas City. Mets were minus 142. Kansas City was minus 103. Obviously value with the Mets here at minus 142. Let me pull this up. They were minus 137. So more than likely, and they were away team, would have had to have played them on the run line to get dog money. And one thing you couldn't see here is that Kansas City was just on the bubble for being a play with value. So they were really good hitting team. In fact, Kansas City had won, I think, their last 3 going into this. So that was another reason why I decided not to play this one, even though we had advantage at F5. So again, Kansas City came back late there and won that one. San Diego, Colorado. You look there, I think Colorado had a bullpen start there. We had value with them at plus 108. San Diego was minus 142. We did have San Diego to only score 1 run in the F5 line. However, if you come up here to the top again, San Diego was listed as the 5th best hitting team via my power rankings. As I've said before, you never want to fade. I never want to wager against them. In fact, could have possibly wagered San Diego, and the reason I didn't because they were only projected to score 1 run there through the F5. And then finally, Boston, Seattle. Boston, minus 130 was plus 112. Seattle minus 131. So we had value there with Seattle. But again, F5 line was 2-2. And then you really weren't getting great value. You had plus 109 with Seattle, minus 106. So the books had this very even, and we kind of had this one even as well, 2-2. So decided to not play that one because usually when I do play, I want to make sure I have obviously a hitting advantage over here. Make sure we have an F5 advantage. So if you look at that, the only play that won would have been Minnesota, and more than likely might would have played that on the run line because they were a home team. So passed on everything, and I can't stress this enough that when you do find a process for handicapping, you have to stay consistent with that process and never assume each day that you're going to have plays via the model. Because as you saw here, when you go through that process, you might get to the end and realize like, hey, we have no plays. And then one mistake a lot of people make, it doesn't feel right to pass on plays for one day. And what you'll do is you end up forcing action and play something that you don't want to play or that you know that you shouldn't play. And when that play loses, it will absolutely destroy your confidence. And you'll be extremely upset. Whereas today I wake up, I feel excited and know that my handicapping was like dead on, and I did some really good handicapping by passing on everything. So anyway, hope this video helps. Have a process for handicapping. Don't automatically assume you're going to have plays each day. If you want access to these power rankings, we're still the #1 handicapper at my monitoring service. Super proud of that. And basically a couple months left in the season. You can get access to these power rankings daily, $49.95. Super inexpensive. You also get access to all my coaching videos. We upload a new coaching video every week. It's only available to clients. If you want access to everything I just mentioned, in addition to all my plays, $100 a month. And the best value is you can join for an entire year instead of paying $100 a month. It's $1,200 a year. You can get that for just $500. So you save about $600 on the yearly by paying it up front. There's a link to join in the description box. Good luck handicapping this week, and talk to you guys soon. Peace.